and it's going to be with us, I think, for a long time. How many people in New Orleans had flood insurance? I don't know. How many did not and got disaster assistance? I don't know the answer to that one either. How can you get elevations of your property for insurance purposes? Sergio, would you speak to that one as far as that? Sergio is involved also now with the floodplain management from the county perspective, and perhaps you can help address that briefly, please.
That is something that you probably would need to work with your floodplain administrator within the city of Oxnard. However, there are significant tools that are available to help in that effort. Ultimately, after the 2005 storms, the Watershed Protection District captured significant amount of data that is being shared with all the communities that brings about a better information as to elevations. That data was used for the floodplain determination, and it's being used for the flood insurance study for Santa Clara River, and that is available to the communities for that use. So I recommend that you check with your floodplain administrator in the city of Oxnard.
Okay, last question on this one was, is my house grandfathered at the lower insurance rate or the owner? Is the house grandfathered or the owner? I'm not sure exactly on all of the ramifications of that, but I believe it is under the grandfathered rate. It's for the owner, and then if the owner sells, it transfers with the house as long as there's no gap in the insurance coverage. Is that the way you understand it?
No gap in the coverage and no change in the risk.
Okay. And there again, if you have specific questions that go beyond what we just said, contact Jana. What type of topo data was used? This is in regard to how was it collected? Why doesn't the Ventura side of the Santa Clara River seem to be impacted by this new map? Sergio. That's an easy one.
Again, we in 2005 captured the topographic information. We used the latest available technology at that time. It is called LiDAR. And what it does, it captures significant amount of information topographically of the landscape. And it's captured in digital form. Now that information in digital form then is transferred into what they call digital terrain models, where you can cut information in terms of analyzing the capacity of the streams, how much volume and flow can they capture, and then what water overflows over those streams. So 2005, LiDAR was used for the flood insurance studies and this floodplain determination.
Check the second part of that. Real quick on the second part, if you look up here, Sergio gave you the information about the digital information in LiDAR, which is important, but I'm going to give you the Minnesota FATS analogy. If you look where the curve occurs on the river, it's a bank shot. When the river comes down, that's where it hits. So we have two dimensions to deal with here, the latest information and Mother Nature operating in the river. When we solve this problem, we also have a responsibility to not transfer it north. So we have to coordinate not only with the city of Oxnard, but the city of Ventura. And if you'll see, the floodplain does exist in the city of Ventura on the north side as well, under these base flood elevations for the river. So it's not fair or accurate to say that either community is immune. Both are impacted, but they're impacted differently.
And the last part of this question is, what chance will we have of reinstating a pilot channel in the river? And do we have any? I think the chances are probably slim to none, but is that
Probably
you have?
as good as an iceberg in hell.
Okay, that's kind of like slim to none. All right, what's going to happen when the fault running down the riverbed reaches or moves? The levee won't last. Any comments? I wasn't aware that there was a fault running down the riverbed, but certainly we will check out this a little further. I don't have an answer for that other than the fact that when earthquake faults happen, land moves, and if there's a river there, it will be probably follow the fault. So just don't build on the fault. But we'll try and get maybe a little better response to that. I don't have an answer to it. Dredging channel environmental. I understand we cannot dredge because of the species in the channel. What happens to them in the 1% flood? And are these species more valuable than us? Well, I agree with that conclusion in there that no, but they are not more valuable than us, but we are constrained. And here again, this goes back to probably to your electeds. Over time, the environmental sensitive people have gotten into the positions of power, and they dictate to what we do. And there's responsible. We run into this every day. I'm an advocate for being responsible in what we do, but not being ridiculous in what we're required to do. And sometimes we are required to do ridiculous things, in my opinion. And that's because it comes to us through bureaucrats that we have no influence on. They get in office and we have very little ability to impact that other than with our vote. So I'd encourage you to vote and know what you're voting for. Is my house in the area to be harmed by the levees? Well, hopefully the levees won't harm your house, but if I understand the question correctly, we do have, and I think, did you mention this? We have a website that addresses that you can go on with your address on the website, on our website, and ask that question, and it will tell you, based on your address, whether you are within the area that is impacted by the 1% flood event or the floodplain, based upon these 9 levees that we have in our system, or the 6 that we're getting piled. So it would apply to SCR 1, but it would not apply to SCR 3. Correct. Is that right?
Until we're able to deploy the new
okay.
terms.
So if you're in the River Park area, that's a good question to follow up on the website. If you're down here on the South Bank, it won't help you trying to get it off our website. Basically, the maps that we have about here, and I think some of these that we show up here on the tables will be probably your best source of figuring out whether or not, right now, whether or not you're impacted. And that will be better to find when the final maps come out after July. Last one I have here is how high or low is the river bottom in regards to the Corps of Engineers red line margin level today? We don't know that. We will look into this and we'll get the answer and get it up on our website, okay? Basically, the Corps, interestingly enough, the Corps built SCR1. The Corps also built VR1, and the Corps built VR3. And those are the 3 that we can't get certified. They got thrown out. So the Corps built them, then they turned them over to the locals, which was, in this case, was a flood protection district that has since become the watershed protection district. And we're responsible to maintain them, but they didn't give us a lot of help on how to make them, keep them in meeting the requirements that have been changing over the years. So that's just an aside. That's all the questions I have. Are there any others that are out there? We said we'd take questions from the floor if you have them. Sir. Okay, question. Last night the council statements were made about 200 more homes may be removed from the area. Yeah, I can speak to that pretty well. This came up last time we had the Corps of Engineers, the FEMA engineer here was in early April, and the representatives from the city brought in plans that showed where the analysis, showed an analysis based on the reduced area here, and that's on this map on the right-hand side, that still it could be reduced, probably several hundred more homes could be taken out. However, the FEMA representative said, she said, I've got to lock down this process, get this letter of determination, final determination out. It's going to go out by July 10th, come hell or high water, no pun intended, but that's the track she's on. And she said, however, what you can do is go ahead and perfect your case. Make your case, appeal, send it in. The map will go into effect on January 10th.